that kind of prompted me to put together something that was not a chapter book, because there are chapter books out on her life, but this is a picture book, table book, that you can go through, and maybe you can only grab a page or two, but you will still walk away edified with new information about the Empress. So we set it up so that it was very accessible to readers and learners of all kinds.
It needs to be a movie, y'all.
Okay.
Yes. So
yes.
now, why do you think perhaps she may have escaped some of the modern history books?
Empress Menen was defiant. So let me just share an example. In the years leading up to World War II, the Italians, and with the help and the backing of Hitler and others, attacked Ethiopia first. Ethiopia was attacked long before any European nations attacked anybody. And Ethiopia spoke out, like, no, you're not going to do this, you know what I'm saying? To let this imperial power think that it could just come take over our country. You can't do it. But they were being ignored. And so Empress Menen took to the airwaves herself, and like NBC airwaves, and shouted in their faces that this is unjust, and you don't really have any right to, and just told them about their self, classic black woman style, and they bleeped her out. All of her speeches were muted before they could be aired in the United States. It was heard in Europe, but not in the United States. I've actually listened to the recordings, and she can't even get hello out of her mouth. They start with the Morse code disruptions of her speech. Yes. And so Empress Menen was real slick. She went through BBC the first time, the British Broadcasting Company, but then she worked with the Russians, and she tried to get her message out that way. They bleeped her out again. Wow. The New York Times carried the written speech, but it didn't have the same power as the spoken speech. So just because of her defiance, just because of how royal she was, just because she didn't stand down to their pressures, just because she gave the French back their whole wardrobe that they sent her and said, I want to wear my own clothes, I don't need your stuff, I'm an African woman with my own style. I mean, she was just ignored. I just think like politely shoved to the margins of history.
Wow.
And I just feel like as we read and learn about her, we up our game, and you just realize that you have permission to be yourself. And,
so how did you find out about it?
Well, my family is in the Rastafari tradition, but in the Rastafari tradition, there's a lot of emphasis on Haile Selassie I. Yeah, that's her husband, but people don't really know about his wife, and really.